There's a moment when you open an app just to look. You weren't planning to buy anything. You were bored, or tired, or just filling a few quiet minutes. And somehow, you check out. It's not a big purchase. It even feels reasonable, almost harmless. Until later, when you wonder why you did it at all. I've noticed something about impulse buying. It rarely feels impulsive in the moment. People describe it like this: it just happened. I don't even remember deciding. I wasn't thinking, but they were thinking. Just not in the way they assume. Impulse buying isn't random. It follows a pattern. And the pattern usually starts with a feeling, not a product. The brain is constantly scanning your environment for two things: discomfort to reduce and reward to move toward. When you feel restless, stressed, understimulated, or emotionally drained, your brain flags that state as something to fix. It doesn't say, you are emotionally dysregulated. It says, do something. Scrolling feels like doing something. Browsing feels like doing something. Adding to cart feels like progress. And this is where impulse buying really begins. There's a psychological mechanism at work here called reward anticipation. Your brain releases dopamine not when you receive something, but when you anticipate receiving it. That small surge happens when you imagine the package arriving, when you picture yourself using it, when you see the confirmation screen. The purchase becomes a tiny emotional solution. Not because the item is essential, but because the act of buying temporarily changes how you feel. From bored to stimulated, from stressed to distracted, from depleted to hopeful. From the inside, it feels like relief. And companies understand this very well. They don't just sell products. They design emotional timing. Apps are built around variable reward schedules, the same psychological principle used in slot machines. You scroll. Maybe you see something interesting. Maybe you don't. But occasionally, something hits. A flash sale. A limited time offer. A notification that feels strangely personal. That unpredictability keeps the brain engaged. Pricing uses anchoring effects. A higher original price makes the discount feel like a win, even if you never intended to buy it. Checkout is frictionless. One click. Saved card. Reassuring confirmation. Minimal resistance means minimal time for reflection. None of this is accidental. Impulse buying doesn't require force. It requires access to a brain that's looking for relief, especially when you're tired, or overstimulated, or emotionally full. In those moments, your brain isn't asking, do I need this? It's asking, will this shift how I feel right now? And the system is built to answer that question quickly. This is why people blame themselves afterward. They think they lacked discipline. They think they failed a test of willpower. But impulse buying isn't usually a battle between logic and weakness. It's a predictable response to an environment engineered around cognitive biases and reward pathways. If someone else had your stress level, your habits, your notifications, your access to one-click purchasing, they would likely behave the same way. That doesn't mean you're powerless. It means the behavior makes sense. And when something makes sense, shame loses its grip. There's one small interruption that changes this pattern. The next time you feel the urge to buy something you didn't plan for, pause. Not to stop yourself, not to argue with yourself. Just pause and ask, what am I hoping this purchase will change for me right now? You don't need to fix the feeling. You don't need to deny the purchase. Just notice the answer. Because that question moves the moment from automatic to conscious. And awareness creates space. Space between the feeling and the action. Space between the urge and the click. Once you start noticing that space, impulse buying begins to look different. Less mysterious, less personal, less like a flaw. Most people aren't impulsive spenders by nature. They're human brains navigating highly optimized systems. And once you see the pattern, it becomes harder to ignore. If this felt familiar, you're not alone. And this is exactly what we explore here. Understanding the spending brain, so you can see what's really happening beneath the click.